I'm Heidi Hutner, and this is Coffee with H2. Today I'll be speaking with Pennie Opal Plant, an Indigenous activist from Richmond, California. So hi Pennie, how are you doing?
I'm doing really well, Heidi. Thanks for having me on your program today.
Oh, you're so welcome. So you do a lot of environmental activism. That's really your work that I know you through. I know you were in Paris for the Paris Climate Talks on Climate, and you are soon going to Oklahoma to work with Casey Camp Horanek, an Indigenous activist there and leader from the Ponca Tribe. And I know there's a lot happening now, of the bridging and linking arms among many people who are water protectors across our nation and beyond. So we'll also talk about Standing Rock and your thoughts about that.
Right. So an organization that I co-founded with Shannon Biggs called Movement Rights is on its way to, Shannon and I are on our way to Oklahoma to Casey Camp Horanek's territory, her reservation in Ponca, Oklahoma. And we're going there to talk to some of the tribal officials about utilizing the language in the Declaration on the Rights of Mother Earth to protect their territory from fracking and injection wells and the really horrible health effects from the refinery that's near there, the ConocoPhillips refinery. And we're also having a community meeting to help educate the residents in Ponca of what are these fossil fuel infrastructure projects doing, how dangerous they are, how they work, and what can be done to protect the health of their community members.
So tell us a little bit about what's been going on with fracking and the impact in Oklahoma. I know there's been a lot of earthquakes, and that's something that I spoke with Casey about recently.
Right. So there's been thousands of earthquakes in the last few years from the fossil fuel industry with the fracking and the injection wells. And so, Oklahoma shouldn't be having any earthquakes. That's just pretty insane. And so that's the basic reason why we're going. And also the health impacts. Casey, I was just talking with her yesterday, and she said that there's an average of one person dying a month in her community from fossil fuel related illnesses and diseases. They've got high numbers of autoimmune diseases, high numbers of cancers, some of them very unusual cancers. We're living in a time where if we don't all rise up and do something to protect the earth, air, water, and soil, we're not going to be leaving very much, if anything, for future generations. Right. And so, most of my time, as you know, Heidi, is spent on ensuring a safe and healthy environment for those yet to come.
Absolutely. So talk to me a little bit about, I know you were in Paris for the climate talks, and you and Casey and many other Indigenous folks were there doing prayers and ceremonies and speaking and testimony to protect the water, our air, our soil, Mother Earth, as you say. Tell me about what that was like.
It was very, very powerful. At that time, the Parisian government said that no more than two people could be on the streets together at any time because of the attacks the previous month. And we completely ignored that, and we're out in the streets virtually every day, praying and making our message really clear that we have drawn the line and said that there's no time to waste. We all need to rise up to protect the sacred, and the sacred being the earth, air, water, soil, and life on Mother Earth's belly. The agreement that was hammered out that the whole world was so happy about, the world leaders, was extremely disappointing to all of us. And when you line the science, the climate science, up next to what the agreement says, it doesn't go nearly far enough, and it actually can take us over 3 degrees Celsius, which is unacceptable. It's uninhabitable. And so I think that just gave us more fuel for the fire in our bellies to keep doing this important work that all of us are doing to preserve life.
So tell me about your thoughts regarding Standing Rock and what's happening there. The thousands of people who are uprising or camping there and speaking up and putting their bodies on the line. What's the situation there like, and what are your thoughts?
Standing Rock is the culmination of prophecy. That's the feeling in my heart about what's happening in Standing Rock. It's the gathering of people. It's being led, not led, but moved through the youth who ran to Washington, D.C. from Standing Rock, not once, but twice. And it's not just about Standing Rock. And I think that that's what people are starting to understand. It's vitally important for the Missouri River to be protected and for it to be restored to its natural, healthy pattern of flow, and all of the beings in and around that river to be protected. But Standing Rock is also a signal. It's a signal. It's a giant flag waving for all of our relatives around the world that if we don't do something now, there won't be much left to protect. If we don't rein the fossil fuel industry in now, we are not going to be able to keep the parts per million of fossil in the atmosphere, even at 400. I mean, we've gone past the 350 parts per carbon of atmosphere, parts per million in the atmosphere. And the latest articles that I've read say that now that we're over 400, it's not going to go below that in our lifetimes.
No.
And so, you know, it's up to us. It's up to us. If we don't do this, if we don't rise up and stop the corporate greed that's destroying our environment, then we will be the most selfish generation of humans ever to live, because we will not have cared about our grandchildren and their grandchildren and those to come. And so that to me is unacceptable.
I'm with you on that. And so one of the things Casey said to me was that she sees Indigenous people as the first environmentalists, and that their voices are rising now as true protectors. How many tribes are at Standing Rock? And just to clarify, because our listeners may not know, this is a place where a large natural gas pipeline is being laid down. It is going to endanger the safety of the Missouri River, which it provides water to many people, animals, farmers, ranchers, and it's also on sacred Native American lands, right? So this is a huge moment, and all these tribes have come together, and not only tribal people, white people of all races are there, speaking up and defending Mother Earth. So I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
Yeah, I can add some things to that. There are over 200 tribal flags that are flying there.
Oh my gosh.
And there's been over 200 tribal letters of solidarity and support, which are official letters from one sovereign nation to another. There are thousands of people there. I think that at the height in the last, when the weather was nice, there was over 6,000 people at the camps. Right now, they really need financial support because they need winter infrastructure. They're not going away. The people are not leaving. And right now, you can go to standingrock.org or sacredstonecamp.org to make contributions to help them get the structures that they need, the right kind of tents, yurts, and different kinds of structures that can withstand that really cold North Dakota winter. So the people are not leaving. There's a school there for children. There are delegations going in from indigenous nations from the Americas and from around the world. An Ecuador delegation was there, a Maori delegation was there. Just in the last few days, a Sami delegation from the Arctic Circle in Europe was there. The Hopi have sent a delegation, the Havasupai. I mean, there's delegations from one sovereign indigenous nation to another going into Standing Rock, going into the Sacred Stone Camp to support. And so our jobs as human beings right now is to do everything that we can to support the people that are there, because they have taken a stand, just like with the Indigenous Women of the Americas Defending Mother Earth Treaty that says we have drawn the line to say that we are not going to take this anymore. We're not going to take the destruction of what we need to live anymore. In Paris, when we were in Paris, we drew that red line on December 12th that said, this is the red line. We're not going to accept this anymore. And so now here we are with Standing Rock saying, we have drawn the line. We are not going to accept this anymore. And there are young people. Some of the young runners have said that they are willing to lay their life down for the future of their children, and these are teenagers, for their children to come to have clean water. It's very powerful.
This is incredible. And so these numbers are growing every day. Those numbers were not there last week. That I'm really just astounded to hear this.
Well, they're fluctuating, Heidi.
Yeah.
They're fluctuating. So right now there might be, 4,000 people there. But the numbers are always in flow because people are coming and going. And people that have gone there and come back, a lot of people I know are trying to figure out how they can get back there again. So even this cold North Dakota winter is not going to keep people away.
That's extraordinary. And it's open. It's open to everyone, from what I understand. It's not just for Indigenous people. It's really an open-armed event. Right?
Because we are one human family. And it's time for all of us to join together, to link hands and hearts and minds, to look at what can we do? How can we imagine this differently? How can we begin to pressure government officials to really start to get serious about transitioning beyond fossil fuel? Because as you know, all of the tools are there to do that. Everything is there. All we need is the public will to say, we're done with this, and now let's look at how we can make a safe future. Because it's all there.
It is all there. And so we are one people, we're one earth. People and non-human beings, we're all one. I love those words. So Pennie, I want to thank you so much for coming on. I look forward to future conversations. I know we'll be having them. And I look forward to seeing you in your various practices where you have been standing up for Mother Earth in a very, very beautiful way. Thank you.
Can I add one thing really quick?
Oh, yes, please.
I just wrote a blog yesterday that's on Movement Rights Facebook page and at movementrights.org that is about Standing Rock and the things that I've just been talking about.
Thank you so much, Pennie. We'll be talking to you soon.
Okay, take care.
Thank you. So I was just speaking with Pennie Opal Plant, an Indigenous rights and environmental activist who is working so hard to protect our water, earth, and air. And her words were really important, I think, for all of us to hear. What's happening at Standing Rock is really a historical, huge moment, and it's ever growing. And if you follow it in the news, it's kind of all over the place. It's a really significant time where Indigenous people are rising up to protect our waters. So thank you. This is Heidi Hutner, Coffee × H × 2.